Well, yet again, getting more complaints that Macs are too expensive. They're overpriced. And I keep telling people, this is just like what Emeek said. I feel like I have to repeat this for people. Well, I'm going to do it anyway because it seems like I have to. Macs may seem expensive, and I'm not the only one who says that overall they are not as expensive as PCs. It's been on the news. It's in the news that after a while, a Mac is less expensive than a PC. Of course, depending what you do and what you like about it, but you get what you pay for. It's worth it. The Mac is actually less expensive than the PC overall. Straight up, you might pay more for some, but that is not always the case for a straight up purchase. So let's take a look. We're comparing the Sony Vaio and this iMac. So let's go ahead. We're comparing the specs and some other features, and we're going to talk about some other stuff too. So, Apple iMac, Sony Vaio. Here we go. Processor. The Sony Vaio has a 2.8 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo with 3 megabytes of L2 cache. The iMac has a 3.06 gigahertz Intel Core 2 Duo with 6 megabytes of L2 cache. Better processor and double the cache. Now you may be thinking if this is unfair, but you'll find out why this is a fair comparison in the end when we compare the prices. Next, RAM. 60 gigabytes of, well, I'm not exactly sure because I searched their website and I could not find the specific specs for the RAM. Sorry about that. I don't know if that's my fault or they just didn't put it on there. But the iMac has 4 gigabytes of 1066 megahertz DDR3 SD RAM. So it has less RAM, but if the Sony Vaio doesn't use DDR3 or whatever, then it's slower RAM. So that's kind of a broad comparison there. Okay. Sony Vaio, NVIDIA GeForce 9600 Mobile GT 512 megabyte VRAM NVIDIA graphics card. The iMac has a NVIDIA GeForce GT 130 512 megabytes of video RAM. And if you're not a NVIDIA person, you just pay $50 for an ATI card. $50 for an entirely different company of cards for the iMac. That's a good deal. Next, optical drive, Blu-ray, slot load 8x super drive. Of course, they're external Blu-ray drives for the Mac, but an advantage is that the Vaio has a Blu-ray disc drive. I will not argue with that. Hard drives, 1 terabyte. They're both 7200 RPM. Serial ATA hard drives. Now the material. The Vaio is made out of plastic, and the iMac is made out of aluminum and glass. AlSiO2. Aluminum and glass. High-grade aluminum, high-grade glass. It's a good display. Good model. And of course, the model is the display because they're all in ones. Wireless. The Sony Vaio is wireless, and it has wireless peripherals with it. The iMac, on the other hand, is not. I mean, with the peripherals, that is. It is wireless. The iMac is definitely wireless, but it does not come with the wireless mouse and keyboard, which you purchase, which is an additional payment. But that extra $100 or so would be so worth it to some people, sometimes not. So this is one of the things that can be kind of a battle between these two. Firewire on the Sony Vaio, no. On the iMac, yes. Firewire 800. And they're both 24-inch displays. And of course, I'll get into some other comments. Look at the back of this Vaio. Look at how many holes there are for screws. It's not even halfway symmetrical. And there's like 4 stickers on the back. And holy cow. This is an ugly pile of plastic junk. I wouldn't want this sitting in my home. The front looks like crap. The back looks worse. It's butt ugly. Plus, the setup and 3 gigabyte data migration is $239.99. I rounded that up to $240. So does that mean they set it up and only transfers 3 gigabytes of data? I'm not exactly sure about that. It's not really that specific. But if it's only 3 gigabyte data migration, 3 gigabytes is nothing for data migration these days. Back then, data migration, 3 gigabytes was quite a lot. But now, data migration requires much more than 3 gigabytes. Apple's data migration is full and free. You bring your computers into an Apple store, a Genius will transfer not just 3 gigabytes, but even 300 gigabytes for free. And you have to pay for other maintenance of PCs. Not saying that's the problem with Macs, because it can happen. But I see so many more problems with PCs. Like my uncle, for instance. Going on this online college service with Microsoft servers, it crashed and they had to get his data again. They screw up so many times you have to pay for maintenance. That's just more money you're throwing out the window for those PC markets to gobble up your cash just to fix your machines so they just crash again later. That's one of the reasons, one of the few reasons a lot more people are transferring over to Macs. That's why the Mac industry growth is growing rapidly. And the VAIO PC comes with Vista 64-bit. We all know, it is a worldwide known issue that Vista 64-bit has had major compatibility issues. The iMac comes with macOS 10 Leopard, which runs 64-bit and 32-bit, and you can still run Windows and Linux for other, things that aren't compatible with the Mac directly. You can still run them, and legally. And it comes with iLife and other great apps, such as like Photo Booth, and the iLife has iMovie and GarageBand. You can build your own websites, make movies, and take cool pictures, and do all that good stuff. You can do green screening without a green screen with that iSight camera. It's so advanced. You do all that stuff out of the freaking box. I mean, it's amazing. You can't do this on the VAIO. I mean, it depends what other stuff's on it. So those are a few other comments. And now, here's why it was a fair comparison. The prices are the same. That's right, the same. And the maintenance kind of actually it more than balances out the payment for the wireless mouse and wireless keyboard, because the Sony VAIO comes wireless, the iMac comes wireless. But the Sony VAIO comes with wireless peripherals? No for the iMac for that. But if you pay for that, it doesn't even equal the puny 3 gigabyte data migration and setup, because Apple migrates all of your data for free. 3 gigabytes is nothing compared to nowadays. Back then, 3 gigabytes was a lot, like I said, but now 3 gigabytes is nothing. That data migration is useless. So they're both $21.99, and they're all in ones, but there are still things different about them. So when people compare computers, like the Mac and PC, they compare probably this high-grade aluminum iMac to this chunky PC tower, which probably has the same hardware specs, but it's like a $500 cheesy piece of crap thrown together. So, you get what you pay for. Macs are not overpriced. Are there ripoffs? Sure, there are ripoffs with Apple. I will not deny that. Things like the MacBook Air SuperDrive, I think that's a total ripoff. But the PC companies have many more ripoffs. Just throwing that out there. Not trying to start a fight. I'm just trying to tell you that they are not overpriced for what they are. Thank you for watching.